Okay, so we're going to evaluate nth roots and use rational exponents. Rational exponents. What is a rational number? Any number that can be written as your favorite thing.
Yeah.
A fraction.
False. I hate these fractions, man.
Okay, so we are going to be using fractional exponents. So we need to talk about what we have here. We have b to the n equals a. Okay, so this is the nth root. N, not nth root, but the nth power. N is the index. B is the base of the exponent. And A is the answer, right? So this is a normal exponential function that you've seen. But you're now going to see b to the p over n equals a. Where this whole thing is still the index, but the top is the power, and the bottom is the root. In other words, in a square root. So how we write that then, this statement is equivalent to saying A equals the nth root of B to the P. Does that make sense where things went? The denominator of the exponent is the root. And P is the power. Now, you've been doing this forever, but you've had things like, never mind, I won't go there. Never mind. So what we do then is we use exponents instead of roots, instead of radicals in our work. I will tell you over and over and over and over again, every problem multiple times on a daily basis. In calculus, we have some root, and we immediately turn it into an exponent because we can do things with exponents. When we multiply exponents, we add them, correct? When we divide exponents, we subtract them. We do that because we're able, is that better? Let me see that better now. We can do more math with them. We can't do things with roots the same way. So we need to think about if I had a to the 1/2, that'd be the square root, wouldn't it? Because it's 2 in the denominator.
Yep.
Squared. What do I get? What's 1/2 of 2?
Itself.
Itself. It's a to the first. So remember when I'd have the square root of a squared, you guys would struggle with telling me that was just a, wouldn't you? Sometimes. Okay, but see how this just does it? It just works the math out. So if I had the cube root, why is it the cube root? Because what's in the denominator? 3. So a to the first, the cube root of a to the first, what power would I take it to get rid of that cube root?
Third.
The third. Because a third of 3 is 1.
So it would always be 1 by the, like the...
If the denominator and what you're multiplying it by match.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So a to the 1/5, what are you going to multiply it by? What power are you going to take it to? 5. Because when you have a power to a power, you multiply, correct? So you get A. Does that make sense?
A little.
What happened?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see what I want to say. I don't want to say that yet. Okay, so we're going to do an example. And the directions are going to say find the indicated real nth root or roots, there could be more than one, of A. Okay, that's what they say. So the first one is n equals 3 and A is negative 216. So if it's the nth root, this is an nth root, so this is negative 216 to the 1/3. Now, if this was an even root, could I have a negative answer? Like, could it be negative? Nope, because 2 negatives is a positive. If I had that even root, that would be that I, so it wouldn't be real. But it's odd. Well, a negative times a negative times a negative is a negative, right? Or a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative. 5 negatives would also be a negative. So can I have a negative answer here? Yes. So what we want to try to do is break down 216. Now 216 is a number you should know. But if you don't, we just got to break it down, right?
Yes, 13.
Okay. Now, what'd you say, 13?
Yep.
Nope, 13 squared is 169. So we're looking for what root? We're looking for what? 3, yes? So hopefully this is a perfect cube. You guys want to try anything? Do you know 5 cubed?
25.
What's what?
25.
Well, 5 squared is 25. 5 cubed is
225.
125. 5 quarters would be $1.25, right? Okay, so we know it's not 5.
14.
Well, 14 squared is 196, so 14 cubed isn't going to be 216. If 5 cubed is 125, should it be...
5 squared, isn't it?
Huh?
5 squared is 125.
No, 5 squared is 25. 5 cubed. Okay, 6? Okay, because if you know 5 cubed is 125, is that very far away from 216 actually? No, it's probably going to be 6 or 7, isn't it? Okay, so what's 6 squared?
7 is 343.
Yeah, and then Kyan said, well, 7 cubed is 343, so he knew that one, so it has to be what? 6? So it's 36, so 6 cubed would be 36 times 6, right? So 6 times 6 is 36, so 6 carry 3. 6 times 3 is
21.
18 plus 3 is 21. So is 6 cubed 216?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to rewrite this as negative, and this is a negative 1, guys, to the 1/3, and 6 cubed to the 1/3. Yes?
Why do we have a negative 1?
Well, because we have this negative right here.
So we're just trying to separate
So we're,
negative?
well, you could do it like this, but sometimes people, we'll do it like that. I'll go ahead and do it. We can do it like this, but remember that is negative 6. It's really this. It's an extra parenthesis. It's the negative 6 has to be parentheses with the cubed. Does that make sense? Like, set off. So now I have negative 6 cubed to the 1/3. Well, what's a third of 3? 1. So my answer is just what? Negative 6 to the first, so negative 6. Just like we did up here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when we have those to evaluate, do we want to get it down to whatever root that it says? Yeah. So B is n equals 4 and A equals 81. So we're taking 81 to what root? What power? It's the fourth root, so what power is the fourth root?
Of 81.
No, what I need to know the power. 3, the power was 1/3. So the fourth root, the power is 1/4.
Oh.
Because 81's to the first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we need to break down 81 and we're looking for what? 4. Mason, got a number you want to try?
No.
No? Well, when you see 81, what do you immediately think of?
9.
9 times 9, right?
What else?
Well, that's,
Oh.
well, 9 times 9, that's square root, right? But can I break down 9?
3.
To 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 81 is 3 to the 4th. Noah? Sit up because you're going to go to sleep. So I have 3 to the 4th to the 1/4. See how that worked? So what's a fourth of 4? 1. So 81 to the 1/4 equals 3 to the first. Do I need to write the first? No.
Now my brain's hurt.
Stop. What, Henry?
I did have a question.
What?
So 3 to the 4th power is on the inside on the bottom one, but on the top it's negative 6, and then the 3 is on the outside.
Well, because it's a negative. We had to separate that negative.
Okay.
Because the reason why is if I have negative 6 squared, my answer is negative 36. If I have negative 6 squared, my answer is
36.
36. So when you have a negative, you need to separate that. Does that make sense?
Just makes it easier.
Yep. Well, it makes it easier so you don't mess it up. Anytime there's not parentheses including the negative, it's afterwards. Okay? So our next example, it says evaluate expressions with rational exponents. Okay, so evaluate expressions with rational exponents. That's our directions. I have okay, so I have 16 to the 3 halves. So remember the 3 is the power, correct?
Yes.
And the 2 is the root. So we're looking for square root, pairs of what? 2. The top doesn't even matter to me. The top does not even matter to me because that's just going to cube it or whatever. I want to make it smaller before I have to make it bigger, correct? Okay, so if I'm thinking squared, what's 16? What's squared that's 16? 4. So I write it as 4 squared to the 3 halves. Well, a power to a power, I multiply, yes? And so this is 2 over 1. So what happens to the 2's?
Cancel.
They reduce out, and I get 4 to the 3rd. You guys know, you should know 4 to the 3rd.
Yeah.
Well, 4 squared is 16.
84.
48.
64.
64.
Take a guess. Yeah, 20 off me. Come on.
Okay. B. 32 to the negative 3/5. So we're looking for a set of what? No, the denominator,
5.
5. Well, what if I break down 32? What do you know times what gives you 32?
8 and 4.
8 and 4. Okay, how can I break down 8 and 4?
4 times 4. No, 4 times 2.
4 times 2 times 2 times 2.
Yeah.
And 4 is
2 times 2.
2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So would it be to your advantage to remember that 32 is 2 to the 5th? And that would be a yes. Because you will get that a lot. And then 64 is 2 to the 6th. Like powers of 2, you should know. So now I have to take 5 times negative 3/5. What's going to happen to my 5 and my 5? They're going to reduce out. And I'm going to be left with 2 to the negative 3rd. What's that negative do?
Jump away.
What?
Said jump away.
No. What's it make the... It makes it reciprocate, doesn't it?
Positive.
So it's 1 over
2.
2 to the 3rd, which is what? What's 2 to the 3rd?
8.
8. We just did it right up here, didn't we? I've got you going to 32 today, don't I? And that's all you need. So your assignment's on the backboard, but it's 6.1, page 417. And 7 through 32. So you guys have